Hey everyone, and welcome. So, we're going to talk about something that, let's be honest, feels like pure fantasy for most of us. But for a handful of people, it becomes a very, very real question. What happens when you suddenly get everything you've ever wished for? Is a huge pile of money a blessing, or is it actually a massive problem waiting to happen? Let's get into it. So, I want to ask you straight up, imagine this. Millions of dollars, poof, right in your bank account tomorrow. Do you think that solves everything? Or does it just turn up the volume on the life you're already living, for better or for worse? It's a really interesting thing to think about because when you look at what actually happens to people, money is almost never the simple fix we all think it is. Come on, you know you've played this game. What's the first thing you do? Buy that dream house, right? Get that incredible car. Travel the world with zero worries. That's the fantasy, isn't it? It's always those big, shiny things that pop into our heads first when we think about being super rich. Okay, but what happens when the daydream stops and, the reality of actually having all that cash kicks in? Well, that's where the story splits. It can go one of two ways. For some people, it is absolutely a dream come true. But for others, it's the start of a total nightmare. So let's start with the scary story first, the cautionary tale. There's this super old saying that honestly feels like it was written specifically for people who get rich way before they get wise. And it really nails why something that seems so good can go bad so fast. I'm sure you've heard this one before. It's an old saying, but man, it has stuck around for a reason. The whole idea is that money doesn't make you wise. Nope. All it does is act like a giant magnifying glass. It just reveals and blows up whatever's already inside you. Right, and here's the key thing to get. The saying isn't just about being broke again. It's about how you lose the money. We're talking about just blowing it, on stuff that doesn't matter in the long run, all based on impulse, not a single thought behind it. And that leads us to a perfect and pretty tragic real-life story. Okay, let's talk about a guy named Michael Carroll. His story is, it's like a textbook example of that old saying coming to life. It's the ultimate case study of how a giant pile of cash can turn simple bad habits into a full-blown disaster. Get this, the amount he won was just, wow, $17.1 million. That is generational wealth, right? That's the kind of money that should set you up for life, your kids for life, their kids for life. But yeah, that's not exactly how it went down. So how in the world do you burn through that much money? Well, take a look at this list. This gives you a pretty good clue. This wasn't about smart investments, okay? It was just a spending spree of epic proportions. I'm talking 4 homes, a villa in Spain, multiple BMWs and Mercedes, quad bikes. He even bought a stake in a football team. And here's the real kicker, the speed. How long do you think it took? Just 18 months. A year and a half. All $17 million gone. It's actually hard to wrap your head around spending money that fast, isn't it? Every single decision was just for right now, with absolutely zero thought for what came next. And you guessed it, the fallout was just as spectacular as the spending. He tried to start businesses, they failed. He was constantly in trouble with the law, paying huge fines, and in the end, he was left with absolutely nothing. He went bankrupt. The entire fortune just vanished. The dream completely turned to dust. Okay, so that's one way it can go. A really scary story for sure. But that is not the only way. What happens when that same massive prize, that same magnifying glass, is given to someone who's, built a little differently? Well, that's when you see money become an incredible tool for good.
Yeah, for some people, winning the lottery doesn't expose their flaws. It actually reveals this deep down generosity they've always had. And there's this guy named Bradley who is just the perfect example. He saw his win not as a personal jackpot, but as a chance to do something amazing for other people.
So Bradley won over $6 million, and he was 83 years old when it happened. But just look at how differently he handled it. He didn't go out and buy a single flashy thing. No mansions, no sports cars. Actually, he didn't buy anything for himself. Instead, he just looked at that money and saw a way to make the people around him happy and secure. He gave huge chunks to charities that meant something to him. And for his family and his friends, he just started making their dreams come true. Paying off a mortgage here, funding a grandkid's college education there, maybe helping a friend get that small business off the ground they talked about for years. For him, it was never about what he could get, it was about what he could give. So there you have it. 2 lottery winners, 2 huge fortunes, and 2 completely opposite endings. One story ends in bankruptcy and, I imagine, a whole lot of regret. The other one? It ends in generosity and pure joy. And this right here, this just lays it all out, side by side. I mean, look at this. On one side, you've got Carroll. Over $17 million gone in a year and a half, spent on stuff for himself, and it all ends in bankruptcy. Then you look at the other side, at Bradley. Millions given away to charity, used to help other people live their dreams, and what's left is this incredible positive impact. The difference is just, it's night and day, isn't it? And that brings us to the most important point of all of this. The money. The money wasn't the problem. And it wasn't the solution either. It was just an amplifier. That's all it was. For Michael Carroll, it amplified his worst impulses and his short-sightedness, and it led to total ruin. For Bradley, it amplified a lifetime of kindness and community spirit, and it created this amazing legacy. The money itself is neutral. It's the choices you make with it. That's everything. And so that brings it all the way back around to you. Look, it's fun to dream about winning, right? But these 2 stories really make you think a bit deeper. The real question isn't what would you buy, it's who would you be? So I'll leave you with this. If you won tomorrow, what choices would you make? Which one of these paths would be yours?